Sleeves here with the Senior Pickleball Report powered by TNC Network. Let's get it going. Today we interview a couple that I met while playing in Arizona. Scott and Hilary are a couple who made a major lifestyle change, and pickleball is part of that journey. They give a lot of really good insight on how to make changes in your own life, and you can tell they really have a love for the game. So let's get to that interview with Scott and Hilary. Scott and Hilary Brogdon, welcome to the Senior Pickleball Report. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
You bet. So I've had some people on, and I'm going to have some people on that I've interviewed more based upon health. I just talked to a physical therapist who does a great deal of physical therapy for pickleball players, and I'm trying to kind of get people a full scope of, everybody's journey is different. They come to pickleball in a different way. It could be just, they got their competitive juices going again, and this is support they can play. Or they may be like a physical therapist who happened to, start treating people, and then boom, he starts taking up the game or something like that. Your story is very interesting. And just a little background, I played with both Hilary and Scott recently, and I found out kind of their background a little bit, and I thought it would be great for my audience to kind of hear your journey. So talk to me a little bit about kind of your health and the approach you took basically in that regard, and then how that basically maybe led you into playing pickleball.
Yeah, sure. We love to share that. It's been quite a journey. So November of 2020, I went in for my annual physical.
Sure.
And at that point, the doctor weighed me, and I was 275 pounds. He had to put me onto a second diabetic medicine because I was maxed out on the other one, so I needed both.
Okay. Right.
I was also on a high blood pressure medicine, and at that time, a high cholesterol medicine. Gosh, I guess it was a year later.
Yeah.
I finally hit rock bottom, if you will. And said, I've got to do something to change, or I'm not going to be around much longer.
Right.
Feeling terrible, just no energy, living life to get through the day at work, to make it to the couch, to watch some TV, to go to bed.
Yeah.
Found a friend of mine on Facebook who had lost a bunch of weight and was looking fantastic and enjoying life. So I reached out. They shared the program with us. I drug her along with me because I knew I couldn't do it on my own. And she
Hilary.
She reluctantly agreed. So February 1st of 22, we started the program. And it's a real simple program. I won't get into detail, but basically you eat every 2.5 to 3 hours, up to 6 times a day.
Yeah.
And then drink 64 ounces or more of water, which is not hard to do out here in the desert. And and anyway, fast forward 7 months later, I had lost 85 pounds. Hilary had lost
Good for you, man.
50 pounds. And because of that weight loss, I'm no longer on any medications. I was able to come off
right on
every medication. I've been maintaining that now for 8 months. And just went 2 weeks ago for my annual checkup again. And the doctor says that I'm now one of the patients that he talks to other patients about to prove to them that things can be done, and it can make yourself better.
Right.
So it's been such a successful program that we couldn't keep it to ourselves. So we became health coaches. We now help other people do the same exact thing. And it's, I won't say as good, but almost as good to see somebody else get there than it was for us.
Sure.
And then from there, we started having so much energy and not knowing what to do with ourselves that I honestly don't remember how I found it, but I found a class on an intro to pickleball. There's a place about a mile from our house that had it. So I said, hey, let's go try this. We need something to do and get out together and be active again, as well as hopefully meet some new people.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was last July, and hooked, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. I know that vibe. And when I met Scott, I knew it right away. I was like, yeah, this guy's like me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah, well, as much my body can take, right? And then I'm like, oh, this hurts. I should slow down a little. So, Hilary, when you found out that obviously he was going to do this program, I mean, I guess my question is, was it something that you were? Was it a gradual process where you had just put on the weight over time, or is it something that you've been heavy for a long time and you wanted to change that at this moment? Or so how did it work for you? Was it something that, this is always something we wanted to do, just never got to it, and it was the tipping point, or how did that work?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I was pretty fit in high school, college, but then things change, you get more sedentary, then you have kids, and
Sure.
maybe weight goes on and maybe comes off a little bit, but not all the way. And you kind of gradually, we had tried a few things over the years that, maybe we'd lose, 7 pounds, 14 pounds, but we never learned how to keep it off, so I really just hadn't even allowed myself to try. It just kind of was, this is just what I am. This is just who I am.
Sure.
We had moved out here to take care of my dad, and I had been taking care of him for a few months prior to that, and had actually been doing pretty well. Had lost about 20 pounds because I was really trying to eat well for him, because that was a big part of taking care of him. And after he passed away, I just pretty much stopped. I just sat on the couch and just didn't know what to do. And a lot of that then became, let's eat food together while we're watching the shows we were watching. And within the span of just probably 3 or 4 months after my dad died, I gained probably close to 25 pounds. Just boom, there it was.
Yeah.
I didn't really think much of it. It just kind of was, here it is. And so when he came to me, I knew I needed to do something, but that whole diet culture, especially for women, a big thing. So I never really allowed myself to think that, I could actually do this and be successful. And as the weight started coming off, I had little goals, I want to get this, I want to do this, I want to do that. And my goals started creeping closer to, what I was in college, or, and here I'm at 50 years old, 51 now, thinking, how dare I even think that I could be close to what I was when I was, 22, 23, and not quite there yet, but I'm very close to that, actually.
Right.
So it was, so it was a gradual process of being that I can do this stuff, and it's okay to dream about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So how important, and either of you can answer this, or both of you, how important was it that both of you went through this together, as far as, encouragement and support?
100%. There's no way I would never have even done it, because the same friends that he was watching, I was watching them too, and I was seeing them successful, and I would never have done it on my own. And if I had gone to him and said, hey, I need to do this, and I'd like you to do it with me, and he would have said, nah, I might have tried, but I wouldn't have been successful. Sure. I think the same thing, he could say the same thing about that. It's
I knew that going in. That's why I asked her to begin with, because I just knew that without her support and encouragement and accountability partner, it would have never happened. Yeah.
Right. Sure. Yeah. Right on. Well, I mean, obviously, I can tell when I play pickleball that if I put on a little bit of weight, like usually when I'm away from home, which I just was recently, as you both know, I come back and I play, and I'm like, oh, I can tell I have, whatever, 5 to 8, 5 to 10 pounds on me, just in my knees. Because we all know this is a sport that's, there's a lot of lateral, vertical, you name it, any sort of movement. And, one bad move, if with a little extra weight on, you can blow your knee out, you can roll an ankle, hurt your hip, you name it. And so I wanted to have you on because I think there's a lot of people that I've come into contact with in my short journey of playing pickleball, which is only about a year and a half, that want to play this game, but are in maybe a situation that you were in before you really started playing. Mm-hmm. So I know you don't have necessarily any experience for this answer, but I'd love your thoughts on people that, oh my goodness, look at that. People that want to play this game that maybe are overweight and haven't had a lot of mobility in recent years. What would you recommend, maybe in just, again, broad strokes, before they go out and play pickleball, something like pickleball?
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point. There's 4 pounds of pressure for every pound on your knees. So,
wow.
So every pound you lose is 4 pounds less of pressure.
That's no joke.
So that's definitely, being at your optimal weight is definitely the best way in order to play for a long time. Right. But yeah, I would definitely, we always try to hide and do dieting in the dark is what a lot of people say. And what we have is not a diet. It is a lifestyle change. And I know that's cliche, but it really is. It's a transformational system that has a weight loss component. So I would definitely recommend to somebody, you find a program that not only helps you lose the weight, but it helps you fix this up here. Yeah. Because if you don't, and you just stop, and go back to eating the way you did, well, it's going to come back on. And you need help. That's why our system is set up the way it is, with coaches and accountability. And we have Facebook groups that, where you can get on there and ask for help as well. And just support of a community of people who will, not let you fail if you put in. That's what really worked for us this time. Like she said, we've done other programs in the past, and you buy the box of food, it shows up, you eat it, and you might lose some weight, but then as soon as you stop, you just go back to your old habits, and it doesn't do anything. Right.
How is pickleball for you both? Is it enough fitness on its own, or are there other things that you can supplement with, or that you do supplement with? Because I'll just say this because I came from a running background, and playing doubles, I don't, cardio wise, it doesn't bother. Play singles, you can run your butt around, obviously. And people have run me around that are really good tennis players. But at the same time, I'm not saying to myself that I'm not getting a workout, but I definitely need to supplement something else if I'm just going to play doubles. I was just kind of wondering where both of you are at as far as the exercise portion of your lifestyle change.
Well, I know when we first started playing pickleball, and my cardio I still need to work on it, but was really bad. We started walking, finally just doing like 30-minute walks. And a couple of the first walks we went on, we were going too fast, and I'm like, oh, it hurts right here. I gotta stop. And that was a couple months in. And then, so as we kept doing that started getting better. We could go a little bit faster. We time ourselves. Right. We do around the neighborhood. And so then when we first started pickleball, it was July in Phoenix. So that in itself was not a good time to be starting. And I don't like the heat anyway, but that was hard, not even necessarily adapt you. And we just our practices, I'd have to go sit down and drink some water while everybody else was, doing the lesson and stuff. And then he's like, yeah, let's go start playing against people. Okay. Yeah. And I could maybe do, like one game, have to sit. And just over time, we've done now tournaments where you might get 5 minutes in between, you might get 20, you never really know. And I definitely still get winded, but I have much higher stamina. And the majority of what I've done is just pickleball. I've been doing a lot of yoga, which I didn't really realize. I thought yoga was just stretching, and I didn't really realize how much strength you can get from that. My forearms and my biceps, my triceps are a lot stronger. So that in itself has helped a lot. I do still need to do more cardio. I'm doing another class now that kind of has that cardio component. But I think you can get started even in relatively poor shape. I mean, you can just get out there and you just do what you can do. You
for sure.
don't have the lateral movement. You maybe have to sit in between games, but somebody could get out there and get started with pickleball and just stand their ground and you know, and play. And then as you get better, then you can start getting into more movements. And that's where you do need to maybe be losing some weight and getting stronger, because you do want to protect those knees and those ankles and things. But
Right.
yeah, that's been the majority of mine is yoga and pickleball as far as
yeah. And I've added some weight training in there as well.
Sure.
You know, as we all get older, we got to keep that lean mass going anyway, and that's kind of the next phase. Is it doesn't have to be anything heavy. I'm not going to looking to be, you know, Mr. Universe, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
But just like but just to keep that lean mass, it's going to help everybody in the long run as we get older anyway. And it's kind of the next phase for us, if you will. It's you know, you're either going forward or backwards in a health journey. So as we, you know, we maintain our weight loss, but we're working on, you know, can I lower my body fat? Can I gain muscle?
Right.
Those kind of things. It is kind of a trade-off at that point of one for the other. Just trying to strive towards that optimal health.
New paddle company, Pickle, PCKL, great paddle line, great price points. Anything you want from starter paddle to intermediate to a pro series high level paddle. Check them out. Get 15% off using my discount code. Pickle. It's the future.
Are you looking to stay up to date on the latest pickleball news and tips? Look no further than the Sleeves Senior Pickleball Report newsletter. Get the scoop on the sport, learn how to stay healthy while playing, and find out about upcoming tournaments. Subscribe now to get all the pickleball info you need.
And I think Hilary bringing up a good point. Like, I think that's what's great about this game is you literally, like, I played when I was in the Valley. I went to Gilbert Regional Park, you know, and there was tons of people. And I got paired up with a guy who was 81. He didn't move well, but he knew where to put the ball. And we did well. He played enough where he didn't need a ton of mobility. Obviously, it's a smaller court than tennis or anything like that. But I agree. People can get out there and sort of, even if they're just dinking with another partner, or if they're hitting against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that's ever hit against the wall knows what a workout is, because you're usually chasing the ball after a while, and you got to go get that anyways. So those are great points, and I think that's kind of what pickleball has such a broad, you know, appeal. Do you have any thoughts about? I mean, and maybe you have you introduced the game to any of the clients that you had or have?
We've definitely talked about it with some clients. I don't have any currently that are local. Most of our, you know, because we do most of our work through Facebook, so a lot of my clients are places in the country. But we've definitely brought it up as a great, you know, tool for next steps, if you will, because it is fun. Like you said, it's not like, you know, I do enjoy going to the gym a little more now than I ever have. But you know, for the majority of my life, it was like I hate the gym. It's just boring. You just go in and you just, you know, lift weights, and you know, and there's people that love it, and you know, good for them. But this is one where you're getting exercise and some stuff, and you don't even realize it. You know, like you said, she really did nothing but other than we just continued to play. And the last tournament we were in, we did 5 games in a row, right? Just back to back to back to back with a break long enough to walk from one court to the other. You know, a few months ago, she would have never made it. No. Yeah. So it definitely has helped that. The other thing I found interesting, I actually was listening to a guy today on one of the pickleball podcasts, and he was talking about what racket sports in general, what a great thing it is for the brain, believe it or not.
Yes, I've heard that as well, right?
Because of the cerebellum is where, I don't remember exactly what he said, but that's where a lot of this stuff comes from. But he named every part of the brain about how it is, because it helps with the reflexes, it helps with your vision of being able to, the neurons to be able to figure out where that's coming and what to do next. And so it's actually a very good mental exercise as well. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
I would agree with that. I can tell anytime I play someone who moves me around. They're playing a different game than I am on some level. Like they're playing chess and I'm still playing checkers.
Yep.
So I do think that there's a definite puzzle to this game that's probably lifetime, long, that I lay in bed sometimes and I'm thinking, okay, if I dink here and then they hit it there, and then I'm like, what am I? Oh my God, it's like the Queen's Gambit. I'm like playing pickleball on the ceiling in my head. But I am not a person who has been really great at recognizing patterns. That's not been a strength of mine. And so in the last 5 years, I've taken up an instrument and I'm playing pickleball, and both those things are, holy cow. I mean, they're very challenging for me, but I can see the results of just when I get into a situation that has nothing to do with pickleball or playing an instrument, I tend to be able to figure it out a little more because, one, I have the patience to do it now. And two, I sort of approach things differently than I used to. And I kind of break them down, which, it is kind of a way I learn things. I break them down by really small increments, steps. And so that's helped me do, things outside of sports and music as well. How about somebody's in your situation? It doesn't necessarily have to be weight. It's something that they need to make a change in their life. What advice, just to kind of get the ball rolling, would you give somebody? Because you all know, like you've mentioned, people get going and then they get sidetracked or something happens and they stop. Is there any solid advice that you could give that really kind of maybe keeps people on track?
Well, no, I've got a couple of things I can think of off the top of my head. One is find the right group of people.
Yeah.
That has really helped us. It's kind of like you're either getting better or getting worse. Thing again is if you've got the right group of people who are supporting you and encouraging you in the right things and know what you're trying to do, then you can stay on track much easier.
Right.
The other thing I've recently been doing is listening to some different podcasts about mindset, because mindset is huge. And we all suffer. I know I do. I suffer from an imposter syndrome.
Sure.
Always doubting myself, figuring somebody's going to figure out I'm a big fake and phony and don't know what I'm talking about. Some stuff. I've always been that way. And I didn't realize it until I started kind of working through, like with the podcast and listening to what they're saying and trying to some of those things. That's a big one for sure. And just, cutting yourself slack. We're not perfect.
That's good.
We're not perfect. Yeah. We're gonna mess up. We're gonna have, like we like to call them now, choice meals, sure. Going back to the weight side where you might put on a pound or two, but now we know we have the tools and how to do it to make it go away again. So that would be the couple I have. I don't know.
For me, I hadn't even really thought about it until, and you even said something about it, how did it start? Was it gradual? I wasn't afraid to fail. I didn't think I was afraid to fail. I just didn't think it was worth trying. And that's ultimately because if you really break it down, I was afraid to try and fail. You hear so many times I've done all these diets and I failed and I gained it all back. And a lot of people do that. And so then they're scared to try the next thing. Because we don't want to fail. We don't want to get our hopes up. And all I can say for him is I'm glad that he asked me to do it. Like I said, I wouldn't have done it. But we're not perfect. I'm actually kind of struggling right now with where I'm at. Do I want to stay where I'm at weight wise? Do I want to go for something else? And even in that, even after seeing all of the success that we've had, I'm still kind of like, ooh, is it okay to try for more? Because I don't want to fail. And we have to give ourselves that opportunity because you can't succeed. What's the saying? You miss 100% of the shots you never take, something like that.
Yep.
Sure.
You can't succeed if you don't try. And so it's worth the try, especially when it's your life. I wasn't on medication, but that's because I don't really like going to doctors. So I don't know. I should have been on some medications. But seeing what has changed in him and seeing how he's come alive literally with not having to be on medication and all that stuff, it's worth the try. That's
Right. It sounds like self-talk, good self-talk is a pretty important thing, because I we see it all the time, and it's true in all of us on some level. We just beat ourselves up, and we're tough on ourselves, and we're hardest on ourselves. And I see it on the pickleball court too.
Yep.
People berating themselves for a particular shot that they missed. And, it's one of those things. If you played pickleball, you're going to miss all the time. That's
Right.
how this game works. So I think that's what I've sort of gained a little bit from this conversation is, one of the main important things is really kind of maybe recognizing, the self-talk that you have. And am I doing something that's encouraging myself instead of always just, oh, I gained a pound, or, oh, I'm not meeting this goal on time, and things like that. So
I've struggled with that with him on the pickleball court because he is a more natural athlete than I am. And I've always been an athlete, but as I've gotten older, things have gotten harder. The eyes, like you said, I don't see quite as well, all that stuff. And he picked pickleball up so quickly. And I had a lot of things where I knew what needed to be done, but to make the hand do it, I couldn't translate that. And over the time, it's like I could kind of have to master one skill and then I could move on to the next one. And he'd bring me videos and he's like, look at this strategy,
That's what I do. But I'll tell you right now, you're pretty good. You really are. Like when I played my first match with you that day, and we played against Scott, and I thought you played fine. I mean, you know what to do. You have the game, the concepts down. And I think, that may sound like something that, people take for granted, but it's not. I played with people who play for years who just don't have the basic things that you do on shot 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And, just getting to the kitchen is a work for a lot of people, and they refuse to do it. So when I played with you, I'm like, she knows what she's doing. We're just, this is what we do. We both go up, and now we're dinking and blah, 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 blah. So,
but I've had to do that. I've had to kind of that self-talk of keep going, because it got real frustrating for a time, because I saw myself as the worst one out there. We'd have the group of 20, 24 people, whatever. And I kind of imposter syndrome, whatever you call it. I just didn't feel like I was getting anywhere. And then the next week I'd come back and I'd, have a better shot, or I'd have a better this, or, something else would be better. So it's just taken me a little bit more time to get to some of that finesse of the game. But it's very fun. And I don't know if I'm quite as addicted to it as this one right here.
It's okay.
Every night if he could. I'm like, I could stay home tonight. It's fine. But it's been a really fun thing, and it's been fun to do as a couple. I was really scared the first time we weren't partners and I had to go play against somebody else. But that's helped me because I'm naturally very shy and introverted. So I've had to open up and I mean, you don't have to have a lifelong conversation where you get to know everybody, intimately, but get to know people. And when they come the next week, you say hi and stuff. And so it's helped with the friendship aspect, because we all know that it's been hard these last few years to meet people. So that's been good.
That's what I was going to say too, is the social aspect of this has helped us, because we moved back here, like she said, November of 2020. So middle of, COVID still.
Right.
And I work from home. I work remote full time. Nobody's going out and doing anything. Where do you go to meet people?
Absolutely.
We don't want to go hang out at the bars anymore. Not that there was a lot of people doing it then. And we're too old. We just can't do that anymore.
Right.
But pickleball, man, like you said, we took those lessons, and then we started going to drop in. And like you said, next thing you know, I've got a group of friends here and groups of friends here. And, there's always somebody blowing up the phone now saying, hey, what's going on? And we made friends again. Like you said, the first time somebody said, hey, let's go grab a drink. And then we're like, do we have friends again? Is that what it means? Because it's been so long, so it's really helped us on that aspect really too, being a great community.
Right on. Well, hey, I mean, great story. And you two are fabulous. You're so fun to play with. Thanks for sharing it with me and, people that watch this podcast. And I appreciate it. It's very inspiring, and you're fun to play with, and you're easy to talk to. That's what's great. So thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Hope you enjoyed that interview. You can find all the links in the description for our guests, as well as subscribing to our newsletter. Get your daily fix of pickleball news. Check out our merch page. Get yourself a t-shirt. Support the channel. Check out our socials. There's always new things going on there. And there's a bunch of discounts on paddles and obviously footwear from Fitville. So check those out. And hey, let's pickle.
Hey, if you're looking for very, very comfortable court shoes, in fact, the most comfortable court shoes I've ever worn, and I've worn a lot of them over the years playing different sports, try Fitville. We have a link in the description that gets you $20 off your purchase.